I'm getting married in 2 weeks, and I am totally screwed. Plus updates. Original post. I literally need to get this off my chest. I feel like I am going insane. My fiancée Sarah, 28 female, and me, 34 male, have known each other for about 6 years, engaged for 1. Our wedding is scheduled to take place in just 2 weeks, and I just witnessed something that is making me feel like I am making the biggest mistake in my life. Tonight Sarah and I were taking a rare opportunity to relax at home. Sarah was in the kitchen making dinner, while I was out back working on one of my projects. We live on acreage and I am building a pagoda/fire pit in the backyard that we were planning on using this fall. Anyway, as you do when you're doing heavy labor, I get thirsty and come back to the house to get a drink, where I see Sarah at the counter preparing dinner and talking on speakerphone. I recognize the voice instantly as my brother-in-law Marty. Now, this is where my brain gets totally twisted. Marty asked Sarah where her sister Evelyn is, as he's been trying to get in contact with her and she's not answering texts. And I hear Sarah say to him, "She just left here, she should be home in a half hour or so." It should be noted that Evelyn is Marty's wife of 5 years. I have to admit that I didn't immediately register what she had just said, because I went into the kitchen and grabbed a glass and asked Sarah, what was that all about? And she responds with, "Marty was looking for Evie." I see her texting and I ask her, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm texting Evie that Marty was looking for her." Anyway, I pour myself a drink, sit down, have a sip, and then finally my brain starts to work. First off, I heard Sarah tell Marty that Evelyn was here. Evelyn was not here, and the last time we saw her was yesterday when she came over to work on some last-minute wedding decoration stuff with Sarah. Secondly, why is she texting Evelyn and expecting a response, when I distinctly heard Marty that Evelyn wasn't answering her texts? Lastly, why the hell would she tell Marty that Evelyn should be back in 30 minutes? Unless she either knows where she is? Then why did she lie? Or she is, right now in front of me, texting her to tell her to get her butt home quickly. The only conclusion that I came up with is that Sarah is lying to Marty about the whereabouts of her sister, and is probably warning Evie that Marty will expect her home in half an hour. I then spent probably the next 5 hours concocting various explanations for this behavior. Some decent, some downright horrible one, and playing them back in my head. I wanted, really badly, to ask Sarah about this, but at the same time, if what I think is going on, then I doubted I'd get a straight answer. Which brings me to about an hour ago. I woke up around 1 a.m. to use the toilet, and I couldn't resist the urge to check Sarah's phone. We both know each other's pins, so this wasn't a difficult thing to do. Anyway, I grabbed the phone, retreated to the bathroom, and unlocked it. And yep, it was exactly what I was afraid of, and probably what most of you were expecting. Sarah's sister Evelyn has been having an affair for about 6 months with a coworker, and Sarah has been helping Evelyn cover it up for almost that entire time. There are literally hundreds of texts between them discussing it, discussing the coworker, discussing intimate stuff, really embarrassing things about my brother-in-law, and probably uncharitable, just stuff that makes my stomach churn. And here is my soon-to-be wife going along with all of it without batting an eye. I took some screenshots of the entire thread, put the phone back where I found it, and then retreated to my home office to find myself here typing it all out on Reddit, simply so I can avoid the primal scream that wants to come out of my mouth right now. I am totally 100% screwed. Reddit, I cannot marry Sarah. I just cannot do it. I can't think of any reasonable excuse she could offer me about assisting her sister in this affair, and victimizing not only Marty, but their 2-year-old daughter as well. On the other hand, myself, my family, Sarah and her family have all sunk an enormous amount of money into a wedding that is supposed to happen in around 2 weeks. There is no way we are getting any of that money back. On top of that, I feel like an absolute fool. Like, how did I not know this woman was like this? And what the heck am I going to do? I can't marry her, I absolutely cannot. However, I still want to. She's beautiful and fun and kind, and I thought we had a bright future ahead of us. She's never done anything wrong to me, but I just can't see her the same now. It's like a big black stain on an otherwise beautiful picture. I just don't know how the heck I got this so wrong, and I'm absolutely dreading doing what I know I need to do. I feel like I want to vomit or break something. Well, on the bright side, the impending divorce between Marty and Evelyn will eventually take the spotlight off the canceled wedding. Turn the wedding into a single Marty party. Brother, trust your principles and your gut. I would never be able to look at a person again if they did something like this. As for the money, screw it. Money can always be won and lost through life. But making a mistake of this magnitude will have far more severe consequences for you in the future. Integrity is everything. I want to add that a divorce ends up being a lot more expensive than a wedding when you consider the emotional fallout, plus houses and possible children, and you won't even have fun in the wedding, so the party money is wasted anyway. You may have sunk money into the wedding, but if you divorce, it will be worse. Trust has been broken, and the chances of it recovering are slim. You'll always wonder if she is lying to you, or even question her fidelity. Or worse, she may gaslight you and accuse you of breaking her trust by snooping. If you think that you have the ability to fully forgive and forget, then and only then, commit to marriage. Otherwise, it will eat at you, and there will only ever be one outcome to that. Edit/update. Guys, you don't need to convince me to not marry Sarah. That's obvious, the wedding is off. I'm just trying to figure out my next steps and work up the nerve to do it. There's an incredible amount of pressure on me from the expectations of everyone, but I'm not going to buckle under it. I just am not relishing having to deal with the fallout, and I'm more than a little angry that I'm in this situation. Update 2. It's 5 a.m., I have work in 3 hours, and I'm running off a couple hours of sleep. I'm going to take a shower and head into work a little early to avoid Sarah and Stu on this. Thanks to the supportive people here, and a big raspberry to the dill holes who keep saying I should figure out whatever good reason my soon-to-be ex-fiancé had for this garbage. Update 3. I got into work around 7, no one was in the office, so I decided to start pulling off the band-aid and I called my brother. He lives in Australia, so he was still up after having just put his kids to bed. It was hard breaking the news to him about this, because I know he has laid out a huge amount of money for flights for him and his family to come. But to his credit as an older brother, he didn't mention it one time and just backed me up. He made a great point too. He said, and totally paraphrasing, "You work in a job where you have to deal with liars and scammers, day in and day out. I don't blame you for wanting to have somewhere to go where this isn't a concern." He was totally right about that, and I get now why I am reacting so strongly to Sarah's participation in this deceit. He also had a great idea. He was going to take his family down to Florida to do some sightseeing and visit the parks. Well, now the kids will be accompanied by their uncle as well. It should be easy since we were going to honeymoon there as well, and we were planning on meeting them for a bit anyway. I'll just rebook everything to be closer to him and his family, and I'll offer Sarah's ticket to either my sister or another family member. I haven't had time to read everyone's comments, but I have answered a few. Right now, I'm just sort of making myself sick by drinking cup after cup of coffee, and trying to distract myself until the day gets on enough where I can reach out to Marty. Update 4. Just did morning stand-up. My stomach is doing flip-flops from drinking about 2 pots of coffee since I got in here so early, and I absolutely cannot focus and concentrate. I feel like I can't do anything really from my side until I tell Marty what I know. So I'm just going to take a sick day and drive over to his house and see if he's around. If not, I'll call him and track him down. Marty is a teacher who is on break right now, and Evelyn works a 9 to 5 like me, so odds are good this works out. Wish me luck, Reddit. Update 5. Got to Marty's house a little after 10 a.m. He had just put his daughter down for a nap and we had a long, frankly brutal talk in the kitchen. Basically, he suspected this for a couple of months now, but Evelyn has been very good at covering her tracks. Obviously with the assistance of Sarah and a couple of their mutual friends. I unfortunately do not have all 6 months of text messages, just a couple of dozen screenshots I sent to myself from Sarah's phone, but I gave him what I have and offered to help him however I could. I am a field analyst in the SIU department of a mid-sized insurer specializing in workers' compensation fraud. So, I know a few things and a few people. Anyway, I am now working from my laptop in my almost brother-in-law's kitchen, trying to salvage whatever I can. I'm going to have to talk to Sarah this evening and get the word out as fast as I can to my friends and family now that I know I won't screw Marty over. So far I managed to rebook most of the honeymoon, although I had a problem with the ticket because Sarah was flying under her maiden name, and our carrier has a surname rule for name changes. Anyway, they did allow me to cancel and get a partial refund, and rebook to my sister who will be accompanying her 2 brothers and nieces to Florida in a couple of weeks. I'm holding off on canceling the venues until after I talk to Sarah, because I don't want to tip anyone off until Marty gets his chance to confront Evelyn. But I will absolutely be letting my family and friends know this afternoon sometime and beg them to keep it close. I'm basically in a frenzy right now canceling stuff I can cancel, and I'm heading down to the bank in a few to open a new account and getting my bills/pays sorted out. The finances. Some people have mentioned them, but it should be pretty good. The mortgage is in my name since we were not married, and I have the bigger income. Sarah did contribute about $20K though, versus my $60K, towards the down payment. I will have to probably pay her out that money, and some portion of the mortgage payments for the last 16 months, but it could be worse. P.S. How come so many are confused regarding brother and brother-in-law? Update 6. I am going to go silent for a while. This post has already been circulating around TikTok and has gone way beyond what I thought it ever would when I was freaking out in the middle of the night. First off, I want to say something here. I do not hate Sarah. I don't approve of what she did. I frankly find it repulsive, and I'm shocked by uncovering how two-faced she can be and how she treats people, but I don't hate her. I am just incredibly sad about everything, and the I'm screwed part of my post is really the short time frame I have to work under. Basically, our relationship is in a state where I cannot get married to her, but we're supposed to get married in 2 weeks. Maybe if we had 2 months, or better yet, a year or so to work through this, my approach might be vastly different. But I don't have that luxury. I have to move now. There's just no way I can enter into marriage with the state our relationship is in now, so I'm not going to. End of discussion, guys. Anyway, I will report back later tonight with how everything today went. Hopefully it will be less traumatic than I'm anticipating. Update 7. I have no idea how long a Reddit post can be, as I've never written such a long one before in my life, so I hope that this goes through. It's about 8:30 p.m. right now, and I'm writing this from my buddy's house. His name is Mark, and a former co-worker of mine that is also in the same field of work. As I mentioned in a previous update, I work as a field analyst in the SIL department of a decent-sized insurance carrier. For people who don't know what that is, I'm basically a private detective. My job is to investigate what we think might be fraudulent claims in regards to workers' compensation. Anyway, as I kind of hinted at, Marty asked for my help in finding out who the other guy was that Evelyn was cheating on him with. All we had to go on was a name. Let's call him Jake. The first thing I did was not some major amount of sleuthing. It was basically just going through LinkedIn trying to find the guy through Evelyn's connections, but that brought up nothing, which I thought was strange. Marty had told me that Evelyn was supposed to go out for drinks tonight after work, and that she said she wouldn't be home until around 9 or 10. He didn't have to tell me what he suspected, since I pretty much understood right away. I told him that I would help him, but he needed to come with me. I then contacted my buddy Mark, explained the situation to him, and had him agree to meet us later in the day. The first thing we did was drive over to Marty's parents' house so that they could watch their granddaughter. I don't know what Marty told them as I waited in the car. After that, we went to Evelyn's place of work. It's one of those large commercial strip mall type centers with all of these nondescript offices in a row, and a large non-gated car park. We drove around until we found Evelyn's car, and then I had Marty unlock it with the second set of keys. I then gave Marty a voice-activated recorder and a GPS tracker to place in the car. Once done with that, we left, parked a bit down the street, and waited for my friend to arrive and for Evelyn to leave the business. Mark shows up about 20 minutes later, hops in a car with us, and around an hour after that, Evelyn comes out of her office with 2 of her girlfriends, and a tall younger-looking man with sandy blonde hair. They are obviously holding hands, and I'm like, damn Evelyn, you're making it easy for me. I take a couple of pictures from the car, and then wait for Evelyn to leave in hers, and I start tracking her. At first I thought she might go right to a hotel or something, but she didn't. Instead, she drove to a reasonably nice bar and grill in a nice section of town, and parked on the street. I drove by her as she was getting out of her car and entering the establishment, and then found my own parking spot and went over the plan. First, we sent Mark in since no one knew him. He had basically 2 jobs. First, try to get any compromising pictures he could of Evelyn and Jake, and second, to be my alibi. Marty and I waited in the car for around 20 minutes, until I got the first in the series of text messages from Mark. They were pictures of Evelyn and Jake making out in front of their 2 female co-workers. Marty's suspicion is right. They were helping Evelyn hide the affair from him. He was obviously very upset and angry. Evidently one of the co-workers is married, and as a couple, they are good friends with Marty and Evelyn, both of them having toddlers around the same age. I asked Marty if that's enough for him, but he says he still really wants to know who this guy is. I try to tell him that we can find out later, but he's practically begging me at this point. So I tell him to wait, text Mark that I'm coming in, and then enter the bar myself. First thing I see is Evelyn and her crew laughing and drinking at one of those tall round tables near the front window as I enter. I stop for a moment, pretend to be surprised, and then call out to Evelyn. Evelyn, hi. What are you doing here? She's obviously shocked to see me, and everyone around her tenses up immediately. Evelyn quickly introduces me as her sister's fiancé and says that we are getting married in 2 weeks. There are a lot of congratulations from everyone. I thank them and then stick out my hand to the blonde guy and introduce myself with my full name, hoping that he'll respond in kind. He does, and I'm a bit taken aback. He's not named Jake. I introduce myself to everyone else and then tell Evelyn that I'm here to meet a coworker. I wave to Mark and then excuse myself. Once I get over to Mark, I tell him the guy's name, and we both whip out our phones and go to work. It doesn't take long for us to find him. He's got social media profiles and a couple of court case judgments against him. Everything sort of falls into place when we find out that Jake is his middle name. At this point, I'm basically just grateful that Evelyn isn't cheating on Marty with 2 different co-workers. Turns out that Jake is 26, married, and has a 1-year-old daughter. This just keeps getting better/worse. Anyway, I text Marty the guy's name, and I decide I want to push my luck and tell him to wait a few more minutes. Basically, I'm playing babysitter here at the bar. I'm totally visible to Evelyn and her crew, and I can see out of the corner of my eye that no one is particularly happy about this, and my presence is really ruining the night. This is good. I let this go on for about 10 minutes, and then tell Marty to text Evelyn that he's spending the night at his parents' house with their daughter. It doesn't take long after that until I catch Evelyn taking out her phone, showing it to Jake, and then everyone deciding to pack up. Evelyn comes over to me, says goodnight, and asks me if Sarah and I want to come over for dinner this weekend. I smile and say that sounds like a great idea, and wish her and her coworkers a good night. Mark and I wait for them to leave, then pay our bill and hurry back to the waiting Marty. There's a bit of hesitation here, because we don't know exactly what Evelyn was going to do. Like, I half assumed she might have already booked a hotel room and was heading there, which would have made everything a lot more complicated and limited what I could do. But it turns out that tonight was probably meant to be just drinks at the bar, and it wasn't until Marty decided to spend the night at his parents' that it turned into something more. Evelyn made a beeline for home, and we followed behind her, way out of sight, and parked down the street. It didn't take long after that until another car pulled into Marty's driveway, and we saw Jake get out, go up to the door, knock, and be greeted by Evelyn. They went inside together. Now at this point it's about 7:30 and I have my own stuff to do tonight. And I think that as a friend, I've done pretty much all I can do for Marty, and he can handle the rest himself. I mean, I feel bad for the guy definitely, but I don't want to get any more involved in this drama than I already am. And being the wingman for him while he confronts his cheating wife is a bit much for me, considering my situation. Marty says it's fine, that he'll do the rest of it himself. Guess he's more of a man than you thought, Evelyn. He goes to Evelyn's car, retrieves my gear, and we bid each other goodbye. That was almost 2 hours ago. I did get one text message from Marty saying it was done, and he was going to his parents' house for real this time. But my phone hasn't been blowing up, so I don't know what's been going on with Evelyn, and I've been at Mark's since then. I think that basically concludes my part in Marty's story. If he was smart and listened to my advice, he was recording with his phone when he entered the house. I'll find out later. Anyway, my biggest priority now is to head home and tell Sarah that the wedding is off. She's almost 100% going to take it badly. There's no way she won't. But like I said, I just can't get married to her right now. I don't know what the future holds for us, or if we will be done with each other or not. But definitely we are not getting married anytime soon. Also, for people who keep saying, why didn't you talk to her first? Why didn't you confront her? I have to say, are you people stupid? She stone cold lied in front of me to her brother-in-law that she has known for about 10 years and purportedly thinks is a really great husband and father. Maybe you are naive enough to think that someone can lie that coldly to someone they are supposed to care about and then tell you the truth, but I'm not wired that way. Until that moment, I never had cause to ever second-guess Sarah or not trust her. But she was literally untrustworthy in front of my face, and I'm supposed to let it slide or expect her to be honest to me? I guess you don't know what it's like to have your entire view of someone shift in an instant. It's disorienting, and frankly, a bit panic-inducing. I'm actually impressed I kept my head and followed my instincts instead of pressing her right away, because it led me to the truth. It would have been ridiculously easy for her to lie to me and then delete those text messages. And if she had done that, then I would never have read the horrible things she said. Never seen how she can be so duplicitous and two-faced, and never realized how little I actually knew about her. I'm going home to talk to Sarah. I'll update later to let everyone know what the final verdict is. Don't expect it to be a good one.